Good afternoon everyone, welcome back to E4S. If you've clicked on this video, you're probably wondering how to write a cover letter and what a cover letter is. We're going to help you today by giving you some tips and advice on how to do this. So let's talk about what is a cover letter. A cover letter is a document that you send along with your CV, traditionally used as the front cover. However, unlike a CV, a cover letter is not there to highlight your main skills and your experience like you would do in your CV. It's more of a way of you explaining how you are perfect for the role that you're applying for. For example, listing the highlights of you that make you perfect for that role. Cover letters are a key job hunting tool that shouldn't go amiss. We all focus on our CVs and making them pristine, but if your cover letter isn't very good, then a lot of employers are not going to even bother looking through your CV, so you're just going to fall at the first hurdle. Why would you go to all that effort of making a great CV for it to just not be read? So make sure that your cover letter is just as good, if not better, than your CV. So with that being said, here are some general tips to help you prepare a successful cover letter to help tailor it to part-time job vacancies that you are applying for. I think the most important thing to focus on first is the format and the length. A cover letter should be no longer than an A4 page. The quality of the paper and the envelope that you use is of course very important and should match your CV. It should always be typed unless specified differently, and also signed by hand. Okay, that's the general format. There really isn't a lot to it, but they are the main things that you need to focus on. So yeah. There are two different types of cover letters that you can write, one being for a particular advertised role and one where you're just applying to a company that isn't currently recruiting anyone. But let's start off with the advertised cover letter. The key to a successful advert response letter is to make sure that you actually fulfill the needs of the role that you're applying for. For example, if they're asking for 5 years experience and you only have 2, you're clearly not the person to be applying for this role, and you will just get pushed aside straight away. And no one wants that. You don't want to waste your time when you're applying for a job. So of course this is going to sound super obvious, but make sure you read that advert carefully to make sure that you are the right person and you have all the right skills. And obviously tell them that. It's also a good idea to mark your letter to the designated member of staff that needs to see it, because you don't want it to get lost and you don't want the wrong person getting hold of your cover letter. It is also a good idea to include the title of your job that you are applying for in your cover letter, because companies will be recruiting for various different roles and they want to clearly see which job you're applying for. Okay, so in the first paragraph you want to keep it pretty brief and explain where you saw the advert and on what date. Then in paragraph 2, you'll explain all your skills and experiences in more detail. And like I said before, the most important thing to keep in mind is to highlight exactly why you are the right person for the role that you're applying for. Include why you want to work for the company and reference any research that you have found out on the company beforehand to back up your answer, because this will emphasise your understanding of the business and set you above other candidates. You should finish off with any other information that is requested in the advert, for example, salary and the availability for the interview. And obviously, I know you're super excited to hand in your cover letter and get that job, but make sure that you have reread that advert to make sure that you have covered literally everything to make sure that you are all set. Okay, we're going to move on to the second cover letter, and that is called a speculative cover letter. Now this is the cover letter that you will be presenting to a company that isn't currently recruiting anyone. Even though you're not specifically applying for a particular role, you should highlight all of your knowledge on the company that you're applying for. Also, like the advert cover letter, you should try and address the right person. For example, don't just say Dear Sir or Madam, phone up the company and find out who you are needing to address your letter to. This looks way more professional. If you don't do this, there is a risk that your cover letter will get lost or go to the wrong person or be ignored completely by the company. I'm now going to briefly discuss some more general tips for both cover letters that I have explained. The letter should be used to elaborate on your key attributes that you have explained in your cover letter, particularly ones that are relevant to the part-time job you're applying for. However, you are sending your CV along with your cover letter, so make sure that you're not just repeating what you've already said. Now, I know this is such a super obvious one, but just make sure that you have checked for spelling mistakes and grammar, because this is a professional letter and you need to treat it with that sort of attitude. That is all the tips that we have for you today. We hope these have been helpful, and yeah, use this video as a guide when you're writing your cover letter. Save it, do whatever, but yeah, use these as a guide because these are super important, these tips that we have shared for you today. Now stop watching this video and go and write your cover letter. Good luck, guys.